oge akụkọ ụwa anyị lewetara gị si n'ọwara igwe okwu Okwute BTV ka o si wee labịara gị onye ọma na-ege ntị. ọ bụla ihe anyị na-eme na-amasị gị, anyị si gị tụsaa ya ka ọ rụsi ukwu ma rute ibe. Tupu anyị agaala iruola akụkọ ụwa anyị nwere tata, anyị chọrọ ime ka ị mata na ofu gọọmenti ka anyị nwere n'ala Biafra bụ Biafra Republic Government in Exile, bụ ụgbọ jeje ibulata USB bulata ya ụlọ. Mgbe uketa oche gị nso ka ntị ya ga-oke ahụ, anyị ji ohere a wee mee ka ị mata na ọ bụ okele ọrụ dịrị mụ na gị ịkwado ndị agha nke Biafra akpọrọ Biafra Liberation Army. Gareni isiokwu lesa akọ nke tata. Acting Prime Minister nke obodo Biafra Mazi Ogechukwu Nkere agala mba Washington DC were gwa ha mkpa ọ dị iti afa Nigeria la mba ogbuara ọbara dịka ha sola ndele egbu ndele ekpere Chineke. Obodo Amerịka ndị omebe iwu tiri afa Nigeria la CPC. Biafra National League bụ dia General Commander bụ Prince Will apụtara were si Biafra Republic Government yọọ ha mgbaghara were sị na ọ bụrụ okwu ya dere ihe ahụ edere n'ime ihu akwụkwọ. Gee ntị ka ị n'ihe o kwuru n'okwu ya.
People of Amazonia that are watching, I remember my humble self Prince Will later. Something was posted by my operational coordinator. Though that post has been deleted and reattended on mythology. A lot of you who were on the side of the Dr. Ngozi Orabuezi started any sort of me and coming.
Akalaki Olu State bụ Olu State Administrator akpọla ndị ọrụ were gwa ha onye ọbụla gbakọta na ọkwa n'igudigidi bụ ugwu eze. O jikwa otu aka ala eme ka anyị ndị ọrụ were mara na ofu gọọmenti bụ ihe nwere n'ala ọrụ bụ Biafra Republic Government in Exile. Ọ bụ ha nwa bụ isi afụrụkwaba okpu la-adị ahapụ isi aka agba ụrịọm. Ya mere ọ sị ka anyị gbakọta n'aka were kwado ndị agha anyị bụ Biafra Liberation Army. Onye isi ọchịagha nke ala Biafra amara General Igwe bute ụzọ etila onye nọrọ n'ụlọ onye apụrụ iro dịka ala akwadola ụbọchị ọnwa Maachị gbara 21 si na ụbọchị a ga-abụ ụbọchị dị oke egwu. Onye ọbụla gbakwa ikwu gị gba ibe gị. Ihe anọkwa bụ onye elele anya l'iro na mmanwụ anyị na-aga l'iro. Ọkwa bụ ọkwa dị mkpa o si na aka onye isi ọchịagha nke ala Biafra akpọrọ General Igwe bute ụzọ. Gerenụ akụkọ ụwa tata n'uju ya dịka onye ndu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu si were gbarie ya lambrisi. Were ntị gị mere oche.
My name is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I lead the indigenous people of Biafra, and also I am the director of Radio Biafra and Biafra Television. And my job and my duty is to serve the people of Biafra up until the restoration of the stolen sovereignty of Biafra land is restored, and also to an extent to also serve Nigerian youths as well. I think since the whole protest started, we have been serving them very diligently every morning and every evening. And it is something that we should be able to continue into the foreseeable future or until all the demands made by the young people are met by Asarok.
Could you tell us about your background, your parentage, schools attended, and all that, please?
Schools attended, my background is quite simple. My late parents, His Royal Majesty Ezekiel Kanu, and my mom as well, and I went to Lab Avenue Primary School, which was a model primary school in Umuahia, arguably one of the finest. And then I attended the best secondary school in the world, I believe, Fisher High School, then named Government College Umuahia, the same alma mater as Chinua Achebe, Kensira Wiwa, and Cyprian Quincy, and a whole host of other people who have gone on to at least make an indelible mark in our consciousness, if not in our society. And then from there, I went to University of Nigeria in Nsukka, where I spent about 2 years, and they weren't doing anything that I felt enhanced my ability to understand what I was there for. I had to traveled to England, where I studied politics and economics at now London Metropolitan University. I've worked in various capacities. I'm actually the owner of Alpha Phoenix Consulting Limited in the UK, which is a consultancy firm, an economic development consultancy firm. I did actually work with a lot of people like Genesis and all the rest of them, where I held managerial positions until my calling. And that calling is to help restore the kingdom of God on the face of this very earth. And that's what we've been doing for very many years now.
Fantastic. So growing up, who were your heroes, your mentors?
I think my father was number one. Only two people in my life have seriously impressed me. One was my dad, that I was very close to, that I learned a lot of things from. We never actually spoke that very often, but I used to sit around and watch him conduct his counsel, the way he adjudicated in cases and the things that he did. And most of the morals that he left me with. I remember on one occasion, I asked my father, why is it that even after Sunday service, when we get back home, normally if I go to my friend's house and you ask after their father, they'll tell you that their dad is sleeping or doing something of that sort. But in my house, any time there's a knock on the door, my father will encourage us to open the door. And I kept wondering why. And he said, if you have nothing to hide, then you should be able to answer every knock on the door. That is why you need to keep your hands very clean. And throughout my life, apart from the time that these criminals, these savages came to my house, the police had never been to my house or the army with a hostile intent. Operation Python Dance on the 14th of September of 2017 was the very first time in my entire life that the army or the police entered my house with intention either to enforce the law or to kill or to arrest or to pillage or to destroy. The very first time. So my father was number one. The second person is Thomas Sankara, the late Thomas Sankara, because of how he managed to turn Burkina Faso around from Upper Volta to Burkina Faso, and the miracle he was able to perform. For the very first time in living memory, it was demonstrated that should Black people put their minds to something, they can make something out of nothing. From being a basket case, they became the largest exporter of food across West Africa under the, should I say, the leadership of this brilliant and very brave young man, Thomas Sankara. So just those two people.
Okay, fantastic. I think before we continue, it would be nice for me to ask if this is the real Mazi Nnamdi Kanu or the cloned one.
I can pull my ear for you. You can see I'm trying to exert as much pressure as I can. The clown in Asorok has 2 ears. I only have 1. You can see my glasses. I can take it off. You can see there is no other appendage anywhere behind this one. There's only one. I can pull my nose for you. You know it is me. In fact, I can even bring, if you'll pardon me, I have here with me the mask that everybody has to wear these days. You can see that my ear is not bent, is it? You can see that it's normal, it's not bent. But the clown in Asorok, when he's wearing his own mask, you see that his ear will be bent, like that. Mine is not bent. So it is the real me. And of course, I have this mark here and it's unmistakable.
Yes, I just wanted to establish that you are alive because I read somewhere that you were dead. And so I wanted to be sure I'm not making history by talking to a dead man in heaven.
Not at all. I'm here live with you on this program.
Fantastic. So could you tell me some of the books that you read that might have influenced you? I don't want to say radicalized you. I would say influenced you.
Growing up was, as with most of my peers, is Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart. That is number one. Because it's reminded us of who we are, where we are coming from, and where we should be heading to. So that very book was pivotal in shaping my understanding of my people and what needs to be done to rectify the damage that colonialism had done to our people. The second one I would say is Alex Haley's Roots. again, in that very book, it reminded me or reinforced the need for the Republican zeal that burns in each and every Biafran, that we see ourselves as equal before any other race around the world, and our belief, cardinal belief, that all men are created equal before God. Given the heroic sacrifice those people made at Savannah in Georgia, in America, many, many centuries back. I also read Leon Uris's Exodus. It is about the Jewish Holocaust and the reestablishment of the State of Israel. Again, a very decent pointer towards where Biafra should be heading to. Those three books, Things Fall Apart, Alex Haley's Roots, and Leon Uris's Exodus. They're my three favorite books here.
I've read a lot about your religious beliefs, but could you tell us about your faith?
I worship the one true God in heaven that incidentally every religion on this earth believes, or should I say, worship as well. I believe I am a follower of Yeshua, Jesus Christ. I believe I worship where Jesus worshipped. I worship the same God that Jesus Christ worshipped. I praise the same God that Jesus Christ praised. And one of my favorite prayers actually was the prayer that Jesus prayed when he was asked to teach the disciples how to pray. And he said, "Our Father who art in heaven," which goes to confirm the supremacy of Almighty God in heaven, bar none, the name above all names. And it is exactly the religion of my forefathers. My ancestors worshipped God and God alone. We answer Wachuku. From the names we give our children, we glorify God. And if you go to my village right now, all you hear about Ikechuku or the Nakachuku, everything is about God. So I don't need to be tutored or to be told by anybody who God is, because God is ever present in our lives, and that is the God that I worship. Sometimes people tend to mistake it because the only modern interpretation of that very religion is Judaism. The only modern interpretation of this ancient religion is modern day Judaism. So that is why I tend to gravitate towards Judaism. But as I said, I am a follower of the teachings of Jesus Christ. But I practice Judaism in the main.
I was privileged to meet the late Chief Chukwuemeka Otumego Juko in his lifetime. In fact, Ovation had exclusive access to his wedding, to his wife, Lady Bianca. What was your relationship with him? Did you ever meet him? And did you draw inspiration whatsoever from him?
Yes, he is our eternal leader. And that was the title that I gave to him in recognition of the very stellar work that he did, trying to save a people that didn't want to be saved. And also, I had come in contact with him in London. We invited himself, Peter Obi Chekwasokore, to come to London. That was in the year 2002, if I'm not mistaken. And I consider it an honor that where he stayed, the hotel he stayed in London, I paid for it. So I had sat with him on a few occasions and benefited from his immense counsel. The reason why we want to honor him by restoring Biafra. And only then will the whole world know in how much esteem we actually hold him. To us, he's an icon. To us, he's our Moses. To us, he is the forebearer. To us, he is everything. And Ojukwu to us, it means a whole lot more than people can ever imagine. And the few times that I sat with him and he spoke, he said a lot of things. In fact, the role that the British played during the war, he was the one that made me to actually realize what they did and the need for us to be very careful. The journalists that were interviewing him, especially from BBC, in their typewriters, were should I say, listening devices that were transmitting everything Ojukwu was saying all the way back to London. And that made it possible for them to sabotage that very effort, or should I say, to undermine it, especially what transpired at Aburi, that we now have the tapes and records of. So I sat with him and I discussed with him, and it was very, very informative, very, very fruitful. And I learned a lot from him, something that will continue to guide me as we proceed on this very important and critical journey towards the restoration of Biafra.
Fantastic. Now we'll get to the area of my bazookas. Now it's time to fire a few bazookas at you. You've been seen by many as waging a war against your country, Nigeria, by seeking a Biafra nation. What led to your decision?
First of all, Nigeria is not my country. I was born a Biafran. My birth certificate reads Biafra, and no one has ever changed that. The fact that I was at some point or the other in possession of a Nigerian passport does not actually confer upon me their citizenship. I saw the Nigerian passport as a mere travel document because my birth certificate issued at the time of my birth reads Biafra. Nobody of a sane mind will condone or accept what is happening in Nigeria. I believe that genuine attempts have been made in the past to try to remedy the wreck that Nigeria is today, but there was a palpable unwillingness on the part of the powers that be to do something about it. I detest suffering and pain. I hate to see people suffer. I hate to see people in pain. The only thing that propels me, the only thing that drives me towards this very agitation is not born out of hatred for anybody, but a desire to test freedom in our time. Nigeria was not constructed by a Yoruba man. If it were, I would have perhaps accepted. Nigeria was not created by a Fulani man. If that was the case, who knows, I may accept. Nigeria was not created by a Hausa man either. It wasn't created by a Nupe man. It wasn't created by a Gwari man, never created by a Jukun man. Nigeria was not created by an Ijaw man, not created by an Ibibio man. Nigeria was created by a white man and named by a white woman. The name Nigeria means awful, bad, evil. It means nigger, which is a swear word, is a slur in America. If a white person calls a black person nigger, they might end up in jail. Then why should I answer a name that is abhorrent before God and before man? Nobody came from all these ethnic groups. They never got together to say, from today our name should be Nigeria. A white man determined that. I cannot go to England and say to English people, I want to rename Liverpool. I want to give it another name. I'm sure they'll think I'm mentally, unstable and put me in jail. Now, the problem is this. Why should Africans accept the name Nigeria? It doesn't mean anything in Yoruba language, doesn't mean anything in Hausa language, doesn't mean anything in Igbo language, but yet we are Africans. So I see it as a relic